Over 80% of people with disabilities use an assistive device, and 27% need at least one more, often citing cost as a barrier. Makers Making Change is helping bridge that gap. Our community of volunteers design and build assistive technologies you can download and request on our website. If you're looking for a solution, you can browse through our wide variety of devices, like simple bottle openers, assistive switches, and even more high-tech options like adapted toys and the lip sync. Once you've submitted a request, a volunteer maker will respond and collaborate with you to build the device. The best part of this volunteer platform is that you only pay for the cost of materials, no markups, and no inventory fees. Want to volunteer? We're open to makers of any skill level. Learn more and join the movement today at makersmakingchange.com.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to MMC Live. My name is Jake McIver, and I am the engineering lead at Neil Squire's Making Change program. Today, we're going to talk about research and development. We're going to start today with just a little bit of history on R&D at the Neil Squire Society, talk more about the Makers Making Change R&D team as it exists now, and then provide an update on some of the internal developments that we're on with. Research and development has been part of the Neil Squire Society since the very beginning, and the original sip and puff computer interface that was designed for Neil himself back in the 1980s. Over the past 40 years, we've created a variety of technologies for people with disabilities. And in 2017, the Makers Making Change program was started to connect people with disabilities to volunteer makers in order to create affordable assistive technology based on open source designs. So fast forward to today, and our R&D team is a small but powerful group of individuals of some engineers in training, technicians, and we often have co-op students as well. And we are distributed across Canada from coast to coast. The primary responsibility of the R&D team is around our assistive device library on the website. This includes contributing to it, curating it, and maintaining it. We also are involved in creating new designs, improving existing designs, providing technical support and build support for things, as well as developing design resources to help our community produce their own designs. As well, we do a little bit of research and try to stay up to date with the latest technologies and evaluate how these can be applied to new assistive devices. The devices in our library are a combination of ones that have been designed by the community, developed internally by our R&D team, and honestly, often a combination of the two. Each of the assistive devices in the library is intended to be made either as a DIY project or by a volunteer maker through the build request process. These devices range from simple aids for daily living to more complex electronic devices for digital access and adaptive gaming. And the open license ensures that these designs are able to be built and used and improved by anyone, anywhere, so across the world, under the terms of the license. In order to be easy to build and easy to use and easy to improve upon, this means that each of those devices needs a comprehensive set of documentation and files. So a good chunk of our time in the R&D team is creating, improving, and reviewing these project files. So for example, an assistive switch like the Roundup switch you see here, not only do you need the 3D printing files and an assembly guide, but it should also have a guide for the user, a rationale for future designers to help understand why particular sizes and design choices were made so they can improve upon it, and all the CAD files and photos and everything to make sure that someone can build it, use it, and improve it. So now we're going to flip over and review some of the devices we develop internally. And we're going to start out with Derrick. Derrick is our electronics technician, and he's going to talk about our latest assistive switch, which was based on several requests from our community.
Hi, this is Derrick Andrews of Makers Making Change. Today I'm excited to show you our new big open source switch. This is a large diameter switch of 150 millimeters, or about 6 inches. The switch can be operated anywhere from the center of the switch, changed by unscrewing the retaining ring lid. A new topper plate can then be added. The top plates can be embossed with different textures, which allows the switch to be identified by feel. Clear top sheets can also be used.
Thanks, Derrick. Like all of the assistive switches in our library, the big open switch can be used for a variety of purposes, including switch-adapted toys, adaptive gaming, AAC, and environmental controls. Big switches like this are especially useful for people that are just learning how to use switches. Next, our co-op student Didi will be taking a chance to talk about her new design, also intended to support learners.
Did you know that listening to music activates multiple areas of the brain, including those involved in emotion, memory, and motor control? This widespread activation can enhance cognitive functions such as learning and memory. When an individual interacts with a musical device, they learn that their actions, like pressing a button, causes a specific outcome, such as playing a sound or lighting up. This helps them understand the basic principle of cause and effect. Makers Making Change set out to create the musical grasping training aid, which is designed to encourage intentional grasping and holding to learn cause and effect. This device can be for any user who is learning unimanual or bimanual coordination and grasping. The musical grasping training aid plays music when the device is being held and pauses the music when it is let go. Users can upload their own music onto a microSD card inside the device and upload new or additional songs. You can also switch out the batteries in case you run out of power. There is also a volume button on the side that will let you cycle through 6 different volume settings, and a skip button which will let you skip to the next song. Although there are plenty of button-activated music toys available on the market, the musical grasping training aid stands out as it allows you to upload specific music files depending on your musical preferences. This feature keeps the user engaged and motivated as they can interact with their favorite tunes, making the learning process more enjoyable.
Thanks, Didi. The musical grasping training aid started out as a design challenge. So it was a challenge that was submitted to the MMC website by a therapist. Initial design was created by a volunteer designer in the community, and then our internal design team took it on and iterated it based on some feedback from the therapist to create this latest version. It should be added to the library before the end of the year. Up next, Brad and the latest addition to our range of alternative input devices.
The device that I would like to highlight in this section is the newest joystick coming to the MMC library, the Willow Joystick. The Willow is the lowest force joystick in the MMC library, designed due to feedback we've been receiving asking for a low force joystick option. The Willow builds off the work done to redesign the lip sync, using the same magnetic joystick concept, but reworked to make it even smaller and lower force. The joystick requires only 25 grams of force to fully displace and is compatible with existing OpenAT joystick mounting adapters. The Willow uses a repurposed lip sync hub, which gives it a lot of the same functionality as the lip sync. It has 3 switch inputs which can be used to left click, right click, scroll, drag, and more. It is a text-based display to allow the user to adjust settings and calibrate the device, and LED lights and an audio buzzer give the user feedback on what input they have sent to the device. The Willow is currently in testing at rehab centers across the country and scheduled for a January 2025 release. If you want to try building one before the official release, the files are available on the MMC GitHub page.
Thanks, Brad. The Willow Joystick will be a great option, both for adaptive gaming and digital access. And this is another one that was based on numerous requests for the community for something that's lighter than existing commercial and DIY options. This next one is also based on a request from the community. Stefan is going to provide an update on the design of the auditory scanning device.
Hi, I'm Stefan Dobry. I'm on the engineering and outreach teams here at Makers Making Change, and I'd like to tell you about the auditory scanning device we're designing. Imagine being unable to speak clearly and easily. How might you communicate your needs and feelings with others? Many people with disabilities use augmentative and alternative communication, or AAC devices. AAC devices can be simple boards with pictures and/or words, to more complex devices like applications on tablets, which can play pre-recorded messages. Users can select options on simple boards in various ways, like pointing, tapping, or staring at them to communicate. Accessing the more complex devices can be done with methods like direct touch on a touchscreen or switch scanning. While switch scanning, the tablet or other device will highlight and step through potential messages, and the user selects a message by pressing a switch. The device can then play the selected message to communicate with others. There are multiple types of switch scanning options based on the number of switches a user can control. If you're interested in trying out switch scanning, most operating systems for phones, tablets, and computers have built-in switch scanning options in their accessibility settings. Now, what if someone needs one of these devices but they also can't see? These site-based AAC options won't be much help for them, and they face an extra challenge while trying to communicate. We're aiming to address this gap by creating a switch scanning communication device that gives the user auditory feedback while switch scanning. Instead of highlighting a message, the message will play to the user. The user listens to the message to determine if it is what they would like to communicate, and once they select their desired message with their switch, the message will play again to communicate with other people. We're at the initial stages of this project and are working on the first prototype. The initial cardboard mock-up can be seen on the right side of the screen. Based on feedback from the group who initially requested this device, users will be able to pre-record 4 separate messages on 3 different message levels for a total of 12 unique messages. There will be built-in switches to directly play or record each of the messages on a given level, and users will be able to switch scan using 1 or 2 switches. There will also be a holder to allow users to mount cards that can represent what each message plays for users with partial sight. If you're interested in this device, please feel free to reach out. We'd love to hear any feedback you may have on the design, and we'll be looking for people to test the prototype once it's ready.
Thanks, Stefan. This is a good example of where cardboard prototyping can come in handy. Cardboard prototyping can be a quick and cost-effective way of getting user feedback, especially in the earlier stages of design. Lastly, today we have Josie, who's been working on a design for adaptive gaming.
Not all gamers use standard gaming controllers. These controllers require a lot of fine motor movement, which can make them difficult to use for some people with disabilities. One solution is to use an adaptive controller with assistive switches and external joysticks. A full adaptive gaming setup can use a lot of switches and joysticks, and it can be hard to keep them all tidy and in just the right position. On their own, they tend to move around while in use, but the current alternative is either a bulky lap tray that doesn't work well for tabletop use, or a hook and loop mat that comes in a kit that costs over $100. We have designed our first prototype of an adaptive gaming tray to fill this gap. The tray is 3D printed with hook and loop fasteners such as Velcro on one side and non-slip material on the other side to keep it in place while you game. The tray folds in half for portability and easy storage. You can also connect multiple units together in either direction to create one larger gaming setup. Using hook and loop fasteners allows for the switches and joysticks to be easily positioned and repositioned in precise locations. With this gaming tray, set up your gaming gear once and focus on the fun part, playing. If you want to try one of these gaming trays and give us some feedback, please leave a comment or contact us.
Thanks, Josie. Definitely looking forward to seeing how user testing goes on this one and providing a cost-effective option for people. That is all we have for today. If you have any feedback or suggestions on what you'd like to see in future episodes, please leave us a comment. The next episode of MMC Live, we're going to be taking a break in December over the holidays, but come back here, same time, same place, January 22nd, 2025 for episode 4 in our outreach team. Thanks.